Thank you. The time is 3:03 p.m. on Tuesday, August 20th. I would like to call to order the Tuesday, August 20th, 2024 meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners. We have a quorum with Commissioner Destruge, Commissioner Dixon, and Mayor Rilling. First item on the agenda is acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting on Tuesday, July 16th. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Destruge. Are there any corrections, deletions, omissions?
Yes, it appears that on page 2 of the minutes, the very first lines, it starts with Commissioner Destruge move to accept the minutes. And then it's repeated on the third paragraph, page 1, to accept the minutes. So the first 6 lines should be removed because it appears to be redundant. And also has the 2 April 16 dates, which we were not approving. So the second set of acceptance seemed correct.
Okay.
Accepting the May 21st, 2024 meeting.
Okay. Any other corrections, deletions, omissions?
I have one, Mayor.
Okay.
Page 5. It's a correction for the spelling of Dave Dustin. It's spelled with a D-U-S-T-I-N.
D-U-S-T-I-N.
Right.
Okay.
That's all I have for that.
Thank you.
Any other corrections? Seeing none, all in favor of the minutes as corrected?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, no action items. Next, we have the fire chief's report. Chief?
Okay, so in your packet, you received a breakdown for the month of June and then a month for July. If we go to the month of June, which would be the full year, the available balances for salaries and overtime shows a surplus in those 2 accounts. Even though we transferred in money for the overtime, we ended up not using all of it. So we are good in that respect. The salary expenses, what's left over, we will be asking to transfer some of that into this year. But we'll go through the BET for that. So that's pretty much the larger account. So we did not go into any kind of negative deficit for last year. This month, July, obviously, it's a brand new start of the year. And nothing unusual even to report. It's just business as usual for the accounts. And finally, also, we're going in the same direction for the sick time. From last year, we're trending down, which is a good thing. So.
Okay. All right. Also, let the record show that Commissioner Paskind has joined us at 3:05. And any questions for the chief?
No question. So I'm sorry, Chief. Yes. So just to summarize, the June budget, we actually came out with 91% total budget for the prior fiscal year.
Right,
So
for all the accounts.
With all of the accounts, taking into
Right.
account the money that was transferred over for overtime. Yeah.
Yes.
So very good. Wonderful. Thank you for
Okay.
giving us a surplus.
Well, you're welcome. We're going to spend it now this year.
That's
Okay. Any further comments or questions for the chief? Okay. Now, Assistant Fire Chief of Administration, Assistant Chief Conti.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
A couple project updates. Station 1, or apparatus floor, I should be receiving the report from the engineer. They've been reviewing all the results. They contacted me today, so should have hopefully more for you next month on that. For Station 3, we have awarded the bid to Majority Construction. We are attempting to, or this original scheduled date right now is the first week of September. And everything looks like it's going to be a go for that. So, and the project is scheduled to, we're looking at an 8-week total project for that time. So everything's sort of fallen into place, and we're finally going to get that project started.
Is that going to affect the operation of Station 3 at all?
Yes, we're going to relocate them to our Station 6 or apparatus maintenance facility for
Okay.
for that time. Yes.
Gotcha.
They've actually already started moving some stuff over so we can make it a 1-day move. That was the plan.
Okay.
So
I also
gonna have-
drove by Fairfield Avenue today, state of Connecticut. It's amazing. The bridges, all the steel girders are in. I think they're going
know.
to finish
Hmm.
a long time before fall, next spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, this was to be done by November.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
think
they're-
they'll get there.
Commissioner Dixon, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Assistant Chief Conti.
No problem. So, yeah, so I'll keep you more, yeah, definitely the next meeting, I'll have more for you on how the project's going on that. Looking forward to getting that one done. For the building renovation, we've got, we were able to extend the PO, and we've got the cost analysis of the architect that I originally, a couple of years ago got, so Alan Lowe, we're working with him right now. We're going to get a very comprehensive cost analysis this time and come back in the fall or winter time for the budget for you. And in the meantime, we're still, Guardian's been helping me performing some repairs. We're getting. I think I may have mentioned before. We're going to definitely putting new LED lights on the apparatus floor, which it badly needs, and we'll be replacing the overhead doors. So that's also part of all the project. So that's going to all be happening as we're getting our cost analysis. And along with the overhead doors, we've also been funded to do all the other overhead doors in the city. So I'm working with Hartford Overhead, and they will be. We're pretty much just going to go a station at a time. I'll just keep you updated on it as we finish. And our records management software, we just actually. They just opened up the software today. We had our meeting last week, so we're migrating all the data over, and hopefully the plan is to be live with that November 1st because our contract runs out with the old software January 1st. So everything seems to be moving pretty quickly so far. So hopefully everything's goes smoothly on that end. I'll take any questions.
No
Commission-
questions.
Okay. Any questions from the other commissioners? Okay. Moving on to the Assistant Fire Chief of Operations, Assistant Chief McCabe.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to begin under operations with the calls report from July. So last month we had 792 incidents, averaging just over 26 per day, largely due to an increase last month or that month in fire alarms, as you'll see. We had 10 fires, 49 rescues, a full 46 of those were motor vehicle accidents. We had 429 emergency medical responses, 45 hazardous conditions, 28 service calls, 159 fire alarms, which, as I mentioned, is up a bit, 72 smoke scare, good intent. And so far for the year through the end of July, we are at 4,700 total incidents and 7,364 total responses. I'd also like to add one notable call that occurred during the storm on Sunday evening. At about 4 o'clock, we received a mutual aid request from the town of Monroe to respond our high water rescue truck to that town due to the severe flooding that they were having. We sent a company of firefighters and a safety chief who ended up assisting with the rescue of 4 people and 3 pets from a house that had become completely surrounded by swift running water. So it was a complicated rescue. The guys did a great job, and I'll have some more details on that in next month's report. On the operations agenda, under item A, department commendations, we have recently compiled a record of all department commendations that have been awarded by the NFD in the last 50 years. Additionally, at our staff meeting last week, we discussed incidents from 2023 and 2024 that warrant firefighter recognition. So those awards will be announced and distributed at a ceremony in the near future, and we will be sure to let you know when that occurs. Under item B, water supply. In the wake of the tanker truck fire under the Fairfield Avenue Bridge, one lesson that we learned during our internal debrief is that we were fortunate to have had multiple fire hydrants in the general area to provide water supply to 3 points of attack. Engine 2 and the King foam truck on the highway, either side of the bridge, and to truck 2's elevated stream. However, if a significant incident occurs on I-95 between East Avenue and the Westport line, there are no hydrants in that area near the highway. In some locations, the closest hydrant is on local city roads, which are hundreds of feet from 95 and over difficult terrain. So we will be approaching First District Water and Aquarian, who serve that part of town, to see what can be done to extend those mains closer to the highway just to compensate for that deficiency. West Norwalk is another part of town where the hydrants are scarce. And for that district, I will talk to Stanford and our neighboring departments about increasing tanker responses on the initial alarm of a structure fire. So those projects are underway. Item C, highway and emergency scene safety. To outline the importance of this discussion point, I'd like to read some statistics on highway incidents that have occurred in Connecticut so far this year. Back in April, a passenger car hit a fire department vehicle operating at the scene of a motor vehicle accident on Route 8 in Beacon Falls. In May, a Connecticut state trooper was struck and killed on I-84 by a driver under the influence. In June, a Connecticut DOT worker was struck and killed on I-91 in Wallingford by a vehicle that veered into his work zone. In June, a tractor trailer collided with a Greenwich fire engine that was blocking the scene of a motor vehicle accident. The engine was totaled and 3 firefighters were transported to the hospital with injuries. In July, a car veered into a work zone where firefighters were extinguishing a vehicle fire on I-91 in Rocky Hill. Also in July, a state police cruiser was struck by a car on I-95 South in Norwalk at the scene of a motor vehicle accident, and that was just seconds before our fire units arrived on scene. There's a photo in your packet of that state police cruiser and also a photo of the Greenwich fire engine that was hit. This month, on August 10th, an SUV hit a fire engine blocking the scene of a car fire on Route 15 in Milford. And the fire chief commented on the news, quote, "This is why we have engines blocking crews who are working in front of them." Finally, on August 14th, a DOT truck was hit by a car while working on Route 118 in Harwinton, sending a worker to the hospital with injuries. So as these statistics show, we are experiencing a serious increase in firefighters, police, and DOT workers being struck by vehicles while working on the highway. And with the congestion on our highways, with distracted and otherwise impaired drivers, and the prevalence of these calls, the solution has to be found to increase firefighter safety in this dangerous work zone. What we've been doing to date in Norwalk and other departments in the region is to dispatch an additional engine company to the highway to serve strictly as a blocker engine, preventing traffic from entering the lane where the rescue operations are going on. However, as the accident in Greenwich 2 months ago shows, that's an imperfect solution.
Yep.
Putting 4 fire personnel and $1 million fire engine in the line of fire against speeding traffic, even with all their lights and their warning devices, has shown to be dangerous and often ineffective. So this was a topic of discussion at a recent staff meeting, and the chiefs came up with a solution that we are proposing to pursue. And that is, the state DOT and some construction companies that work on the highway have purchased barrier trucks to block off lanes in construction zones. You've probably seen them on the highway. This is a truck with a crash attenuator on the back, And that attenuator is designed to absorb the impact of a 60-mile-an-hour collision.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of fire departments in the western part of the country have purchased these trucks, and they respond them with their apparatus to accidents to block traffic and to protect their firefighters instead of using the blocking engine, which is what we've been doing to date. We believe this is a sound idea on several levels. First and foremost, the attenuator truck will create a protected zone for our firefighters working accidents and fires on I-95, the Route 7 connector, and the Merritt Parkway. And
Mhm.
on average, that's about 250 calls a year that we work on just those 3 roads. Secondly, we will not have to expose firefighters staffing a blocking engine to possible crash and injury, as happened in Greenwich. And third, these attenuator trucks cost about $180,000 and can be delivered in a couple of months, unlike an engine company, which costs $1 million to replace and takes 4 years to deliver. Finally, a barrier truck will keep the second engine company in service in the city to respond to other emergencies instead of placing it as a blocker on the highway. Fortunately, we have enough funds in our rescue company capital budget carried over from fiscal year 2024 to fund this project. Although the concept of a fire department attenuator truck will be new to this region, Norwalk will be the first. It is consistent with the Norwalk Fire Department's mission of thinking proactively about safety and putting the well-being of our firefighters first. So we would love to have your support with this project, and I'm happy to answer any questions on it.
I think it's a great solution to a serious problem. Obviously, people on the highways, you're dealing with people that are speeding, texting, not paying attention, maybe under the influence to a great degree. But this is something I think is a great idea. So I would recommend that you go ahead and start the process for purchase.
Thank you. We have the funds, so
Yeah.
it's just a matter of getting some approvals.
Given the nearly dozen scenarios that you've outlined, I think it's a great solution. It's certainly better to put at risk $150,000 truck versus a $1 million equipment. So it's a great solution, and it also frees up our staff to do fireworking instead of
Yes.
having them manning the fire truck.
Do you know if there's a special permit or anything needed by the state police to deploy something like that? Or you might want, do you think you should check with them just to see, to make sure?
Yes, we'll check with the state, and we'll write up a full, a full standard operating procedure for its usage as we get further into the project. But yeah, the trucks themselves as built have to meet many state and DOT regulations. So we would be buying a stock unit and using it for the same purpose.
Is a vehicle exactly like this being utilized by other departments?
Yes,
DOT? That's what I thought. Yeah, I've seen them on the
yes,
highway.
the picture, there's 2 pictures of an
Yeah.
attenuator in your packet.
Number
That
4, right?
particular
Yeah.
vehicle, I believe, is from Texas.
Right,
So
3
there
and
are
4.
departments that have done it.
Mhm.
Within the state of Connecticut? Are
Within
they
the state
being-
of Connecticut, no, I believe we would be
Oh.
the first in the
We
state.
would be the first, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, I heard you say that. I thought you were talking about fire department only, but I've thought I've seen that type of vehicle in the state. May have been on a,
Yeah,
some right outside.
if you're looking for it now, as you drive down the highway, you're going to see a bunch, used by construction and DOT.
Yeah.
But ours would be the first fire department apparatus that I'm wearing.
Excellent. Great idea.
Sure, you also may be getting requests perhaps from Darien, Westport, to assist them as well. So you might want to reach out to them and start working on some sort of a mutual aid SOP or something of that nature.
Yeah, okay, we will. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good report. Thank you.
Any other questions for Assistant Chief McCabe?
I do.
No. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Paskind.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for that report, Chief McCabe. I also think that the truck idea sounds really, really reasonable and important. at the beginning of your report, you were talking about collecting the commendations from the last 50 years. That caught my attention, and I'm curious, what are you gonna do with them?
Well,
Where are they all right now?
yeah, the fire department, hands out awards and commendations based on incidents and actions that we decide are need to be recognized. So we give them out. It's not every year, but every couple of years. Generally, we'll have enough incidents where we feel that there's a need to recognize the firefighters. And in our ceremony, we'll generally recognize several firefighters and several incidents at once. So we had realized that the time had come. Since 2023, we had not given any out. There had been some fires and some incidents that we wanted to recognize. And in the process of looking at that, we started to realize that all the awards that have been given in the past had not been collected in one place as a reference. So we went to personnel files. We talked to retired firefighters and retired chiefs to determine what had been given out in the past and just compiled them into one document, so that we have a record of who has received what over the last 50 years. And now we're going to continue to keep that up to date and to build upon that record as needed.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. Another worthwhile project.
Thank you.
You'll probably be pretty amazed, because when you look at something that one thing happens here, one thing happens there, but when you put the aggregate together, it's all of a sudden you say, oh my God, look at all these things that have happened, and look at all the awards that we've given out. I think it'll be an
Absolutely.
interesting read as well.
Yeah, and it's nice with such a young department, which is what we have now. We've done a lot of hiring in the last 3 years, for those individuals to be able to look back and see what's been given out to people in the past. Just gives them a sense of history and a sense of belonging to the department, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we have the fire marshal's report.
Okay, Kirk McDonald had some emergency dental work that needed to be done, and he was able to get an appointment this afternoon, so I will read his report.
Okay.
So for July 2024, the fire marshal's office did 174 inspections. They had to send out 32 re-notifications, 3 different pub education events. He did 19 plan reviews. They did 6 liquor licenses, 7 investigations, including fire investigations, and 5 code hazard or code issues, for a total of 246 different items. And you compare that to last year of 2023, they're up from 197. So they did quite a few more inspections, actually, almost 300 more inspections than they did last year. They brought in $1,200 for plan reviews, $390 for liquor license, for a total of $1,590, and the yearly total was $25,375 versus $23,000 the year before. He also has some noteworthy comments. As you know, one of our part-timer fire inspectors retired. July 10th, Norwalk Police requested the assistance of the Fire Marshal Division determine use and occupancy of a local business hosting a teen party. After they went there and worked in conjunction with the police, the party was canceled because they found alcohol in the premises. July 11, they did a supervised emergency evacuation drill with Ludlow Commons. All the residents, they knew what to do and where to go, and did so in a timely manner. And the Fire Marshal Troy Donahue finished all his classroom and certifications, and he's now a certified fire marshal with a 91% score, one of the highest in his class.
Hmm.
So
Yep. So you got Troy Donahue. Are you going to get Elvis Presley next?
We're working on it.
Very good. Any questions
Yeah.
on the fire marshal's report?
Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
That brings us to emergency management. Mr. Luca?
Good afternoon. So just a couple notes. Obviously, Sunday, August 18th, we had a pretty significant rainfall. However, compared to some of our neighbors up north, it didn't cause as much damage to the area. Reports of about between 4 to 7 inches of rain fell in the city in a relatively short amount of time. Due to the amount of damage, though, statewide, especially again, Western Connecticut, Oxford, Monroe, Southbury, Newtown, the state is pursuing a disaster declaration for both public assistance, which could cover some of the costs for municipal expenses. So overtime for fire, police, public works, any damage to roadways, infrastructure, city buildings. And then they're also launching a link for residential damage. So residents that might have sustained significant flooding. Again, this is in the hopes that FEMA would be able to provide some assistance. They're pretty confident that the public assistance, which again is the expenses for municipalities, will be granted in the next 2 or so weeks. Again, we'll be working with our neighbors, the state, to push out the link and see if any residents might be able to get assistance for their own flooding damage. Probably not as likely, but again, we are going to try, and again, all the municipalities will work together to get that link out. And I believe Michelle Woods Matthews was getting that out today, and then also to common council members, social media, website, to spread the word. Oyster Festival is coming up on the 6th, 7th, and 8th. So we do have a planning meeting next week just to discuss the usual logistics, some coordination, and then we'll send out an event action plan prior to the first night of the Oyster Fest. Open house on September 28th from 9 to 12. That's our annual Public Works, Police, Fire open house at 15 South Smith Street. And I'll ask Lynn to send out the flyer to you all with the English and Spanish versions. And again, we'll probably in the next week or so, we'll start pushing that out a little bit more aggressively. Once school is in session, Public Works gets it out to the school district, usually K-5 kids, through their event software. Usually we get a pretty good turnout as long as the rain holds off. And then we also do a food collection for Open Door Shelter that usually gets a couple 100 pounds of food that's donated. And then also every couple of months, when we're lucky, we get a call from Food Rescue US regarding usually a tractor trailer full of food. So a couple weeks ago, we worked with Public Works, Food Rescue, and had about 28 pallets of fresh vegetables. Public Works offloads them. We get the word out to our community partners, food rescue partners. So all that food, again, doesn't go to waste and is able to benefit some of our local agencies. So we did that a few weeks ago. And as much as possible, when they get those donations, we really try to jump and say yes, because we do know so many of our neighbors and residents are still struggling. So again, we don't always publicize as well or as much as we probably should on social media, but this has been an ongoing project with Public Works, Food Rescue, probably for the past 2 or so years. It is never dull. So that's it.
Yeah, Sunday was quite interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments?
A question, you said you have a meeting soon with the Oyster Festival staff to discuss the upcoming activity. It's been several years ago, and I can't remember exactly how many, but we were in a meeting at the fire department, and it wasn't from a fireman or a police officer, but someone in the group indicated that the helicopter could not land on one of the softball or baseball diamonds that are sitting in that festival. If the need ever required it, those guys driving that machine should have the ability to put it right in the center of that diamond. During Afghanistan, a Army helicopter pilot flying a CH-53, which has rotors on both ends of the airplane, managed to put the rear wheels on top of a mud shack while he loaded people on that needed to get out of that particular area on a hillside. And he hovered with the rear wheels touching that. So if the guy driving that EMS helicopter can't do that, he probably shouldn't be in the machine to start with. So you might want to reference that, because I was told that that was not a viable place to, dictate or mandate a rescue attempt that was that urgent to have a helicopter come in, rather than, ambulance transport, retransport, and press on. So EMS should be able to do that without a problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Good comments. Any other comments or questions?
No.
Okay, that brings us to Training Division report. Deputy Chief Capola. You're on mute right now.
Sorry about that. Good afternoon, Mayor. Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
So some of the current training activities we've been doing, the low-grade victim removal using rope and rigging gear on Rescue 2. We're doing that training here at our training mezzanine at Station 2 with our confined space prop that we have here. Continuing work with the new members. The probationary task books are being consistently worked on by the lieutenants that are assigned a newer firefighter, a probationary firefighter. We are doing a lot of ladder rescue training, utilizing ground ladders. We have been using our interior training prop when it's super hot out, and then getting out into the field when it's not. Also, recently I've been given permission, not really permission, but authorization to use the vacant property at Meadow Gardens for some exterior work only. We're not in the building, but we're doing hose work in the courtyards, and also ladder work, aerial ladder and ground ladder placement. Our EVOC program continues. That's emergency vehicle operator. And we are specifically continuing to train aerial operators with tillers. Summer is always a challenging time of year for that because we have a lot of people off. So it's very, very critical that we have a good reserve of drivers that are capable of sitting in the seat at a moment's notice to take over driving duties for that shift. So it's a really high priority for me to make sure that I give the company officers on the aerials time to train those members so they're comfortable driving and being signed off as well. Our physicals, our NFPA 1582 compliant physicals are, I'm down to four physicals for the whole department, and those 4 people are not here. They're on extended leave, injury. One is on military leave, and one is on maternity leave. And when they come back, they'll be given a physical right away. We do have two of our probationary members attending an online hybrid EMT initial training, and I've been checking in with them, and their training is going well. So they'll be done soon with that, and they'll be EMTs. Some of the stuff I completed, checked off the list. We had a elevator emergency management class delivered by an outside instructor who is a expert in the field. We did that for the entire department back a couple of weeks ago. We recently signed off an aerial tiller operator. Firefighter Augusto was signed off to be a full tiller operator. Our OSHA quarterly respirator training I put it as completed. It's pretty much complete. There's a few people that haven't been here that I need to get, but that's something that I check off the list. Ground ladder raises and deployment drills, same thing. We're doing a lot of ladder training. And then the boat has been doing a lot of navigation and also man overboard training with the Marine unit. Some of the upcoming stuff we have a fire officer certification class coming up for the fall, October. Also, Norwalk High construction project. I'm trying to work on something to get our crews up there to take a look at that project. Also, we have Wegmans down the street that's being built. That's going to be looked at. MTA is going to come in and do a railroad safety course in the fall, in September, and that is free. I'd like to point out specifically item number 4 under upcoming scheduled training activities along the lines of what Assistant Chief McCabe was explaining before. Connecticut DOT offers a class. It's called Traffic Incident Management class. It's free. It's delivered by the Connecticut DOT and retired state trooper from Troop G, Rob Deary. So they're going to come in and do the class for us. I've invited EMS. I've invited PD. And I also have a couple of requests from other departments to take seats in that class. It's free. It's going to be delivered here at the firehouse, and we're going to put all of our members through it. I did it probably about, I don't know, maybe 5 months ago, and it was an excellent class. They discussed all different kinds of things that we do on the highway. They use case studies. They actually bring like an ability to put their current calls going on the cameras on the screen so they can be critiqued during the class. So that's good. Eversource electrical underground safety class. I'm trying to get Eversource in here to do that class for us. Underground electric is a very common practice now, and it's where new construction is going. So I think it's important that we learn a little bit about that. And then lastly, in early 2025, we'll be doing our EMT refresher for the cards that expire in 2025. That's it. I just quickly, if I could just speak to the recent mutual aid response that we did in Monroe. All of our members performed excellent. We had a crew of 4 and myself up there, and just for the record, our crew made up of firefighters Chilla, Philish, and Lieutenant Lyons, and firefighter O'Neill. We were all front and center in the rescue. So our members actually brought the family out of the house and to safety out of all the responders that were there. So I was pretty proud of that. And we got a lot of kudos from other departments on that. So I wanted the mayor and the commissioners to be aware of that incident and how really we weren't just there. We were actually, we made the actual rescue. So not we. I don't mean me, but I mean the members.
The team. Yeah.
The team. Exactly. Yep.
Great.
And that's it.
Well, our firefighters always make the city of Norwalk proud, and
Very
we
much.
get a lot of requests from the surrounding towns for assistance, and they rely on us because they know we deliver. So, kudos.
But also, just another side note: we were due to that incident, we were featured on News 12 yesterday. I was interviewed yesterday on News 12 about our role in the response, and actually today Norwalk made national TV. I was on Fox Weather in a short interview about what we did there, and it was kind of awkward to be part of that. It was a live interview. I didn't have any time to prepare. They basically just put me on a Zoom call and just started firing questions off to me. So it was there. I was identified as myself from Norwalk Fire Department. So we made national TV news this afternoon. So
Just tell the story, right?
that's it.
That's all you do.
Are you working toward a second career?
No, I like my career.
So
Any,
commissioners,
Go ahead.
one more
I'm sorry.
thing.
Yep.
The 2 members that responded did have, or they do have training in swift water rescue. So that training paid out.
Yeah,
paid
they
off.
had. Where was it? 2 women got swept away
It was
in the water.
Oxford.
Oxford.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those things,
Two
you
different
never expect it to
locations.
happen, but yeah.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
got out of their car
Yep.
and that was it.
Yeah,
So
fortunate, yeah.
you should not drive through, like they say, turn around,
Mm.
don't drown.
Yep.
All right.
Any other questions or comments for Deputy Chief Capola?
Nope.
Okay, Chief, now we're on the correspondence.
So there's 4 items here. I'd like to start with the first one, which is letter number A, which is a retirement letter from firefighter Richard Garbus. He was a lateral that we transferred from New Canaan Fire Department over to here about 3 months ago. He is leaving only because his number came up in New York City. And of course, every firefighter's dream is to be able to work in New York City as a firefighter. And he's a young kid and he's very ambitious. And so he's going to be leaving, going to New York City. And his letter explains how he, had a great time working here for a well-respected fire department. I want to couple that with number D. So part of local 830 contract is the member through the Board of Fire Commissioners may grant a leave of absence without pay upon request for a period not to exceed 1 year. Upon expiration of the approved leave of absence or earlier, he'll be reinstated back to his original position where he left. You're not going to accrue any benefits or seniority. And it also mentions about whether or not you want medical insurance, you have to pay for it yourself. But he wrote a letter requesting the leave of absence, which is attached to your packet. And I really think that because we have a number of vacancies now, and because he's an exceptional firefighter, he's done very well in a short amount of time that he was here, I don't see any negative downside to this. It's basically, we hold a position or a vacancy for up to a year. If you ever wanted to come back, we'd gladly take him back, but that's obviously your decision.
All right. Does the contract indicate that the commission has to vote to approve it, or what's the approval process for that?
Well, maybe Tina could explain the approval. It just says that you may grant a leave of absence upon his request. So I would assume you'd have to vote on it.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, a year leave of absence is something that is definitely a significant personnel issue. So,
Chief, I'm confused. The first letter is a letter to request a leave of absence.
No,
By
the first letter is just saying that he's going to resign.
Okay.
He's going to resign.
The second letter dated August 15, he resigns. It's a formal notice of my resignation from my position, signed by Richard William Garbus, which I assume
Right.
is this person.
Yes, that's him. So he wrote the letter August 15th. His last day will be August 22nd.
Okay.
And then he's applying for a leave of absence. And I said to him, you need to get a letter to the commissioners like soon.
yeah, but he can't. And once he resigns, he's no longer a firefighter, and there is no. I don't think this leave of this resignation. What
That's-
Commissioner Destruge is saying,
Right.
when you resign, you're finished. You're gone. I think
Well,
this.
today's the 20th. He doesn't retire for 2 more days. So technically he's still a member of our department.
Yeah, but once you
Uh,
but the
he
resignation
signed
would
the
be
resignation.
would end his employment. If he wants to request a leave of absence, that's one thing. Then we can vote on that. But if he
So
wants, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, my question was gonna be either he withdraws the letter of August 15 where he resigns and just submits to us the letter requesting the leave of absence.
Mhm.
I think we would be very happy to vote on that and in light of your good report on his function, but we cannot have on record both a
Right.
letter of resignation and a letter requesting a leave of absence.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Ms. Fogel, I think you can opine on that.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm looking at the contract right now, and it's Article 22, and it does say the Board of Fire Commission may grant a leave of absence. So it doesn't talk about voting, but it is clearly within your purview to make a decision as to whether or not you would approve a leave of absence for up to 1 year without pay. But I agree that the existence of the resignation letter makes it a little bit more dicey. So he would have to issue withdrawal of the resignation letter and then request for the 1 year leave of absence, which I think that based on what they're saying, would be approved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in all fairness to him, we should just ignore the letter of resignation
Yeah,
and then vote on the letter for a leave of absence. I don't think he understood the process, and that's fine.
but Mayor, can I amend your recommendation, which I agree and support, but that is that we are proceeding with the vote on the extension of the leave of absence,
Mhm.
conditioned on him removing that letter from our file.
Okay, yeah, that's a good approach.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I would need, and because we do have to vote on it, I would need a motion to that effect. So Commissioner Destruge, if you want to make a motion to that effect, and then we can vote.
Sure. I move to accept the leave of absence without pay request beginning on August 23rd, 2024 for firefighter William Richard Garbus.
Conditioned on,
Conditioned, yes, I'm sorry, conditioned on him withdrawing the August 15th letter of resignation.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you, Ms. Mayor.
are there any questions about that or any comments?
If a vote's required by us, how's it going to be accomplished?
We'll vote, we can vote right now.
Well, no, yeah,
That's what I'm.
it's a conditional vote, yeah.
Yeah, so the motion has been made. Are there any further discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the motion carries. So Chief, you'll reach out to firefighter Garbus and indicate that, and I'd like that withdrawal of the resignation in writing.
Okay. I'll get that.
Okay. You want to continue, Chief?
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Destruge.
Okay, the other two correspondence, letter B is a thank you letter from Mr. Mark Howe that was sent to Mayor Rilling. It's a very nice, well-written
Mhm.
letter. I'm sure the other commissioners might have heard about the situation.
Mm.
The man was having a heart attack and our two firefighters off duty happened to be right there in that area. And went to this man's assistance right away and the CPR. And then when engine 3 got there, they hooked up the defib and they shocked him and they brought him back. And I want everybody to know his story. We are going to recognize firefighter Cal and Mossop at a ceremony in City Hall. That's what the mayor wants.
Mhm.
And the mayor, I did reach out to Mr. Mark Cal, but he has not given me any dates yet.
Okay.
So, and I will keep everybody informed once I find out the dates. I'm going to not be here. I'll be out of the country until September 9th. So when I come back, I'll work on it some more. The other letter, so letters of commendation, as Chief McCabe talked about, we've decided that we're going to give everybody who participated in an EMS type event and write a letter of commendation from the chief indicating the incident and the dates, little narrative of what happened, and thanking them for the high standards that they have, and we're proud that they're Norwalk firefighters, and accept my appreciation on behalf of the fire commissioners and the citizens of Norwalk. And a copy of the letter will be put in everybody's file. And to date, we've just handed out, I think 6 of these already, with 2 more to go. So we're trying to stay ahead of the number of commendations that we're going to be doing.
Mhm.
But those letters are also included in your packet. You should have them.
Do you have, just a question I have, and I may know the answer to this, and I simply may have forgotten. Do you have bars or ribbons that the firefighter can wear on the dress uniform?
Yes,
Okay.
we have all that. Chief McCabe put together a whole document on the different badges that we have.
If you could
Well, we
send
also-
to the commissioners, a copy of
Mm.
that to the commissioners, that would be nice to see. I probably have one someplace, but
I'd be
Yeah,
happy
we
to
just-
email that document to the commission
yeah.
for you to take a
Thank
look
you.
at.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of the correspondence.
good. Now we go into the personnel issues.
Okay, so just to mention, we have 3 firefighters that are going to be joining the drop. Fire Captain Anthony Matera, Fire Captain Mark Franzen, Fire Lieutenant Mark Schimento. And I believe next month or after that, there'll be 2 more firefighters getting into the drop. So all the paperwork has been submitted to personnel. And just wanted to let you know that those people are getting into the drop.
Ms. Fogel, you have the paperwork and everything's in order on that? Now, the commission, I know in the fire department, I'm sorry, in the police department, the commission has to sign the approval. Do we have to sign the approval for the fire department drop plan requests?
Yes, you do.
All right, so you'll get that paperwork to us so we can,
Yeah,
Approve it.
you should have had it. You should have signed them already.
I did?
I
Okay,
think so, yeah,
Oh, those the ones we already signed? Okay.
yeah.
okay. Very good.
Yep, we signed them in July, so they've already come to you. I'm looking at them right now.
I think I signed my name about 250 times a day. So,
All right, so we're ready for the executive session part.
okay, so now the time, I need a motion to go into
Yeah.
executive session to
Forward.
discuss a Kerma update and vacancies. Commissioner Dixon?
Yes, sir. Before we get into that, I think the kudos, an excellent word to utilize, comes in triplicate, I think, today. And that in being when the Norwalk Police Department had their community day, the smokehouse and the personnel and the equipment provided by the Norwalk Fire Department was well received across the board. You could tell just by the way in which the people there in attendance handled that. I know that in your visit to the schools and what you do in this entire community, probably don't get a whole lot of feedback relevant to what transpires, but a little personal note here on some feedback. And the fact that we had a house guest that had placed a piece of plastic in the oven, and it was unknowns to us, the oven was turned on, and of course, smoke ensued. And our son at that time, who was probably in the first, second grade, comes running down the hallway, stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll. And once Irene notified him of what was going on, he immediately said, "Everyone outside, call 911."
Mm-hmm.
And Irene looked at him and she said, "James, why is your jacket so puffy?" He said, "I'm not risking my toys." And then we told him that the toys aren't a priority here, you are. And he said, yes, I know that. I'm not allowed to go back into my room and get this jacket, which he'd already had preset with his toy. So he grabbed it on the way out, and he knew because of what your department did for him that if he didn't have it, he couldn't go back to get it. So kudos across the board for all that work that you always do.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Glad to see they're paying attention.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Okay, so now I'll need a motion to go into executive session
So moved.
for the
Second.
purpose of Kerma update and discussion on vacancies. Time is 3:58. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mayor,
Okay.
Unfortunately, I am not going to be able to continue on. I have a student that.
Okay, yep. So please note that Commissioner Paskind is leaving the meeting, and the people in the executive session will be Commissioner Dixon, Commissioner DeStrouge, Mayor Rilling, and fire department staff, and Ms. Fogel. So we're going to leave and come back on the other side.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You're on mute, Mr. Mayor. There you go.
Okay, I think everybody's here. Oh, no, we need Commissioner Dixon.
You're on mute, Chief.
Here he comes. All right, so the time is now 4:36. We're back in public session. During executive session, no motions were made and no votes were taken. I need now, since there is no further business to come before the commission, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner DeStrouge. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 4:36. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too.
Same.